Okay, so there are four of us in Lightbody Academy, but Christina Zupke is the founder.
Mm.
I would call her a multidimensional accelerator. So she helps people accelerate their intuitive abilities. And I can say 100% that that has been true with everyone that I know that's come there. Their abilities have increased. Absolutely.
Oh,
She also is a dream time expert. So we go into dreams and bypass the mental layer and go into rabbit holes that take you to what spirit's actually trying to tell you.
mm.
So it's very different than dream analysis. So that's her niche. And of course, much, much more because she's much, much more than that. But those are the things she specializes in. And then we have Stacey Hernandez, who does ancestral clearing and energy clearing. Um, Her ancestral classes are amazing. What gets cleared out in those ancestor classes. So I'm going to say every person is very skilled at what they do. And then we have Ray Ellen Sievert, who is our resident astrologist, and she's been doing astrology since she was in her teens, and she's now 76.
Wow.
So she
Okay.
joins True Sky Astrology with Western astrology and combines those along with her intuitive abilities. And so she's oracling as she goes when she does a chart. And it's
Mm.
very interesting and it goes very, very deep because of that. So again, very skilled at what she does.
Yeah.
And then there's
Wow.
me.
That's amazing. Well, what do you do, Laurel?
um, well, I'm called an elemental oracle, but what I really do is I'm a sort of a communicator with the elemental realms and with Sasquatch, and I try to guide people towards their own relationships with them through my experiences, through my own experience. So anyone who wants to have a connection or has an existing connection wants to know more about that. So we do Sasquatch and mostly the Fey realm.
Awesome. So you get people connected to their elemental friends, basically.
Yeah. Yep. And all the things that come with that. So yeah, it's a very fun and interesting job.
I love that. I should get a session with you and see what you have to say about my connections because it has I feel like it has kind of been going on my whole life, but I haven't had uh physical experiences uh s- until the past couple of years. So I kind of feel like they've been guiding me towards this period for a very long time, but I would be curious to see what you have to say sometime. So I think it'll be
Sure.
fun.
Also, you can come to our Forest Wisdom Circle group, which is the first Thursday of every month, except for April because there's 5 weeks and then we're going to be away in May. There'll be
Mm.
two in April, one at the beginning, one at the end. So it's on a Thursday, first Thursday of the month, usually month, not the munch. Thursday, usually, or always Thursday,
Yeah.
usually first Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And that's for anyone who's having experiences they want to expand on. And we share a lot of different things with each other, which is really helpful because everyone's experience or flavor is a little bit different, what they experience or who they're connecting with. So,
Yeah, for sure. Is this a is this an online thing or is this in person?
yeah, it's on Zoom. Everything we do pretty
Oh,
much
okay.
is over Zoom. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay, awesome. I might drop in and see what happens. I feel like these online communities are so needed right now. I was just on the phone with a friend of mine and we were talking about maybe starting our own pretty soon because I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I started this channel was because I was starting to have these experiences and I didn't really have anyone to talk to especially in my immediate neighborhood and community. And I didn't really know where to turn to. So I kind of just was like, well, I'll start this thing and start asking some questions and see what happens. And it's really taken on a life of its own. But yeah, it's been fun so far. So Brian Bland told me to get in touch with you. He said you are just an amazing person with just a huge amount of knowledge when it comes to the elemental realm. So I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about your history and kind of how this all happened for you.
Sure. Um, yes, that was very nice of Brian, and I thanked him for that.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he really is. And it was through him that I started cultivating my own relationship. He was a big part of that. He and his wife,
Oh, okay.
Sue. Um, so in the very, very, very beginning, when I was a child, I had this innate feeling that the Fey realm was all around me. And I kept looking for them and I looked for them everywhere I went. And eventually we moved onto a mountain and I was in the woods every day looking for them, but I never did see them with my eyes. So then, of course, as you grow older, you kind of put that in the back shelf as your life unfolds. And, I had kids and was doing different things. And then I had a friend so I used to do scientific research on crop circles for BLT research, which is or was based out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And so I would basically, with a partner, we would do, measuring and soil sampling and magnetic particle drags and growth experiments and a lot of documentation in a crop circle.
Mm.
And so that would all go to BLT research. So BLT stands for Burke, Levengood, and Talbot. And so that's Nancy Talbot. And some people, if they've been into crop circles, would know who she is. Anyway, we became really good friends. And she sent me a video with a Sasquatch speaking on it. And of course, I live in the lower part of BC, sort of just close to the border. So the Pacific Northwest, when you consider the Pacific goes all the way up the coast. And
Mm.
of course, steeped in Sasquatch lore. So,
Yeah.
it's in the culture. You see stickers on the backs of trucks and there's mugs and all those things. I mean, it's all over the place. So you sort of growing up with this and don't think anything of it really. Of course, they're there but don't really think much about them per se. This is me. Now, I know a lot of other people with different experiences, so it's like been there their whole lives, but it wasn't like that for me. But when I
Mm.
heard this voice, it was like everything inside me lit up and I had to find them. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Who am I going to get to go up with me into the mountains? Because I'm not going by myself. And anyway, and all these things were going through my mind, and I'm reading books and everything. So then I go back to um, this wetlands that I used to walk around every day for 20 years. So I knew this place really well. I also did crop circle research there, so I knew every inch of that place. And I walk past this old sort of bush, tree-ish like bush, with all these sticks wound through it. And I went, but then I knew about structures. You know how they make structures
Oh, yeah.
out of wood. And I sort of walk past and I go, "Ugh, wait a minute." And I back up and there is this structure. So I'm going, well, they're right here in town. They're not just out in the middle of the wild, which is what everyone thinks and which is what I thought too. And then I
Yeah.
realized slowly they can be anywhere, green spaces, parks, absolutely anywhere. And they are in those places in a lot of towns and cities. Um, so anyway, I started gifting spot with them there and a lot of different things were happening. And this happened really fast from the excuse me, different accounts I've heard from other people. It happened over a long period of time. Like this was like wham, wham, wham. I was getting stuff. And anyway, so I go there this one day and a couple things happened. I had been previously uh, a teacher practitioner at a Buddhist center, and we had made a table of bracelets for a fundraiser. And I was taking a picture of this table. And in my head, I'm going, as soon as I'm done this, I'm going to head to the wetlands and connect with Sasquatch, check my gifting spot. So I'm thinking this as I'm taking the picture. So I'll start with when I get to the wetlands. So I get to the wetlands, and there's from my gifting spot 3 sets of trackways, an 18-inch, a 15-inch, and a 9-inch, going about a quarter of a kilometer and then disappearing. And so
Mm.
I sort of walked through that and I was like, my mind was getting blown. And as I'm looking at these trackways, a person runs by with their dog and I'm watching their feet because I'm so used to picking up on details from the crop circle research. I'm looking at this guy's feet hitting the ground as he's running, and there's no imprints being made in the gravel. And that's him running hard on this gravel, like there's nothing showing.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at these prints that are embedded heavily into, like dug right down to the dirt. And you can see all the toes and everything else. And then in my mind's eye, I could see a little one on the shoulders of the larger Sasquatch that was going down there. Um, so then all this is happening. I'm documenting it all, which is great because that's been really helpful since then. And I would suggest to anyone document absolutely everything because
Yeah.
Sasquatch will teach you things in stages. they'll give you something and they'll let you digest it and they'll just let your humanness absorb it, and sometimes for us it takes a long time. So it can be
Yeah.
years in between the things that they give you. But if you're documenting it, you can constantly be going back and looking at things, and then all of a sudden the whistles will sort of go off, and you'll realize they've been trying to tell me something this whole time. And this could go on with a single event for quite a long time. Um, I've had one particular one that's been going on for years, and I feel like they're still giving me pieces of that because we can only absorb as much as our blind spots and resistance will allow us to. And so once that sort of starts to get filtered out of the way, they can start giving you more. And they're constantly vetting you for how much they can give you. So you're constantly being watched. I don't know, that sounds creepy, but you're constantly
It's
being
true
vetted, you
though.
know?
Yeah.
It's true. Um, anyway, so to end this story, I go home after I'm there, and of course, I'm looking at these things on my camera going, "I can't believe what's going on." And, they have put the torso of a Sasquatch onto my phone. You can see the hair, you can see the arm where it joins the body, and there's much, much more to this story, but that is ongoing, I feel.
Oh,
But these are
wow.
the things that happened in that one episode, so that's sort of how it started for me. It was pretty full on, and now
Hmm.
I understand why, but yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because of what I'm doing now, I think they knew that this is where I was headed with it, so to share it with
Sure.
other people and try to help others, um, begin their relationship as, um, an ambassador for change for humanity, you know?
Yeah,
So helping these.
absolutely.
Yeah, because they wanna come together with us for change, for the better of both worlds. So
I agree. Um, what was I gonna say about that? It's it's weird. With my and I won't talk this too much because this is the Laurel episode, not the Gina episode. But
well, I would love to hear
I
whatever it is.
oh, well, my experiences were kind of the same with you. I started seeing tracks at a wetlands that I would go to all the time with my dogs and they were very tiny, very small, like bare footprints in the snow and miles away from where anyone would want to go. I live in a very rural part of the country. And so I started seeing those. And then one night the family was woken up by banging on the roof. And that terrified everyone. That was it was pretty scary. But I was at that time I was working with a mentor who was helping me learn more about my energy body and how to use it, how to clear it out, how to read people, stuff like this. And um, I honestly didn't know what that was, what the banging was, and I didn't connect the footprint. I couldn't even process the footprints. It was just like, okay, file this in the back, and we'll deal with this later because this is just too weird. And I didn't have Sasquatch or anything like that in my consciousness at that time. But after the banging on the roof, I contacted my mentor and I was like, "Do you get anything on like what that could have been?" And she said, "Oh, it's the Sasquatch people. They love you. They want you to love yourself more." And that was just like, that just blew me wide open, uh, because they read me like a book. It's like they knew me better than I knew myself at the time, and so that kind of, uh, started this whole journey with, you know, learning more about myself and about, shadow work and wounded motivations and, like, ancestral healing and lineage healing and all this sort of stuff, but also the more that I would work on myself, the more I was aware of, the more I could see, the more I could hear, the more I could feel. And they came in and they taught me so much about the heart and how the frequency of love is what builds reality, basically. And the elementals help with that. So yeah, I think you're doing a pretty important job right now. What's that?
Well, yeah, and it's wonderful that you're saying what you're saying because I feel like there are a lot of people heading down this path. Um, and what was I gonna say about your personal experience? Yeah, what you're saying about clearing out the those things that are those wounds we have, those, um, resistance to having reality be anything than what we can see with our eyes, those are the blind spots and resistances I'm talking about. And yes, when you clear those out, absolutely, and that's what we do a lot of that in Light Body Academy. I mean, that's one of the main things we do is we clear and clean all the time. Um, so that is for sure what you're saying is absolutely been my experience, not just my own, others as well there. Um, so yeah, sitting on the things that are bothering you in your life is not going to help you move forward with not just these relationships, but any relationships.
Hmm.
So it's once you remove those blind spots and resistances, that helps you in all your relationships, extraterrestrial, human, interdimensional, elemental, all of those things. So that's great you said that. It's helpful for people to know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's man, I don't know if all of them necessarily wanna work with us, but from my experience, the ones that reach out to me, definitely, that's the overarching message is that, you know, the planet is not just ours, guys. We're sharing it with a bunch of different beings, and we kinda have to come together and remember who we are and remember that Gaia is a living sentient being, and we can't just, like, carry on with the way that we're going because it obviously is not working.
No. And what we've really done is abandon all the realms. We've just
Mm,
taken off. We've removed our presence from those places. And you're right, there not everyone wants to work with us. But not every one of them wants to work with us, but of course not all humans want to do that either. So it's really a
exactly.
calling, it's a heart call between those in those realms and those of us that want to do those things for the betterment of all. Um, and there's so many people I would say, particularly with Sasquatch connections that have this heart call. It's just like when I heard that voice, immediately they're on it. They know that you've heard the calling basically, and they will definitely answer it, you know. If you want that, they will definitely answer it, and probably watching a
Yeah.
lot of people right now.
Do you have any great stories? Do you wanna tell me some good stories?
Sasquatch stories? Fae stories?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, well, it was interesting how I met Brian and Sue. I can talk about that a little bit. Um, I have been trying ever since I heard that Brian lived close to me. I have been trying to get a hold of him, get a hold of him, get a hold of him, and he happened to know Christina,
Mm.
who's the founder of Lightbody from conferences they were doing together at that time. And he got a hold of her and he goes, "Do you know this Laurel person who keeps trying to get a hold of me?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, you better connect with her."
Mm.
So, anyway, um, what had happened was at the wetlands where I was walking around, and I mean, they were leaving glyphs and leaving stuff all over the place. So my radar was totally up all the time. And on the ground, close to where the enter the park, there was a sort of a triangle where the paths would go 3 different ways, and it left a triangle of land in the middle where there were some trees, and they would put things there a lot, like they put
Mm.
structures and they put glyphs. So I'm looking down, I'm standing in there, and I'm looking down, and there is it's like a peeled off bark strip, like thin bark, not thick like you think on a fir tree. It's more like a poplar bark or something like that, in a circle with 3 sticks in the middle, a tall one, a pretty tall one, and then a short one. So,
Mm.
when I think the next day, I went to meet up with Brian and Sue, and the first thing we found when we went up into the woods were 3 sticks, a tall one, a not so tall one, and a shorter one. Because tall Brian and Sue are both very tall. Brian's like 6'4", Sue's like
Oh, really?
5'10". Yeah,
Wow.
and I'm about 5'6", so I'm substantially shorter than both of them. I used to think I
Mm.
was tall till I met those 2. Anyway, um, yeah, so they were saying basically saying, "Here, you guys, you know, your guys are gonna meet." And we have been such good friends since then. They're very, very dear to me, both those 2. Um, so that's how we met. So they will do things like that. Um, another good story about them is so they will eventually no, I shouldn't say this happens with everyone because I don't know, but oftentimes they will follow you home and they will let you know that they've done that and when you're ready
Yeah.
to receive that kind of communication because it kind of freaks people out, "Oh, they're in my house." Um, well, you can
Yeah.
also say, "Listen, please, you're welcome in my home. Don't go in the bathroom or the bedrooms." those are private places, but please make yourselves at home anywhere else sort of idea. Um, but so because of my history with this wetland situation, and so what was happening there is the largest Sasquatch, just take a little drink. The name was Kahala, and he was himself an orphan Sasquatch. So
Hmm.
he was tasked to helping the young ones who were no longer with family for whatever reason, and he was teaching them how to interact with humans. So I guess they considered me a safe place to do that. So the little ones were, I guess, learning how to go through the wall and put things in a house, or maybe
Mm.
go right into the house. But I'll tell you how I feel like this is what they were doing. So right beside the living room window, I'd had an office with my desk in it. And at that time I was working at the Buddha Center and I was doing a lot of publicity and printing a lot of things. So I moved the table into the living room beside the window. So the window would be on my left and I'm facing the wall. And I go to sit on it and I usually sit on this inflatable, looks like a donut without a hole. It's just a flat, thin thing with air in it. So it just helps your back muscles, strengthen.
Mm.
Um, so I'm sitting on this and I had washed my hair that morning and you'll see why this becomes important. So I'm sitting there and I'm working away, and then I decide to get up and go to the kitchen. And then my daughter comes and she goes to sit there and they take it off. My husband and my daughter would take this off because, and my son, they're really tall people too. Seem to be the shortest one around anyway. They
Me too.
decided to take this. My daughter comes and takes this donutty thing off, and underneath is a huge uh, poplar leaf.
Oh.
Um, yeah. And I'm thinking, well, I didn't see it. She goes, Mom, of course, she knows all about Sasquatch and this by now. Did you put this here? And I said, well, no. Did you put this here? And I said, no. And I know her dad didn't because he wasn't into it. And my son wasn't there at the time. So it's like, okay, what's going on? So my investigators, fires up and I go looking outside and sure enough, there's one print in the dirt, like a small one. I'd say, yeah, probably 8-ish inches right underneath the window. So, this isn't all to that story though. So then on the chair, I see these 2 yellowy spots and I think, what is that? And then I just go like this, what is that? And I can feel the sticky stuff in my hair. So I go to the bathroom and I look and sure enough, there's some of this yellow stuff in my hair. So these little guys with their sticky fingers have been touching my hair and
Mm.
putting this leaf underneath. It's
Yeah.
so cute. It would just touch me so much. Anyway, but these are things they can do without you having any idea. And I'm sitting on this thing while this is happening, and had no idea what's going on. So they can do things. They can do lots of things. Yeah. So that's another story.
Wow. Um, yeah, I've had them come to my house, show up as orbs in the backyard, and I have an apple tree in my backyard. And last summer or the summer before, probably the summer before, I I used to go to the store and buy organic apples for them all the time, leave them out in the wetlands and stuff. And after a while, it dawned on me, hey, I've got this tree, and all the apples were starting to drop and kind of rot on the ground, and the dogs were eating them, and it was just a total mess. So I went out in the woods and I asked them, I was like, hey, if you guys want to come to my house, come and eat some apples. And uh, that night, there was a so the windows were all open, but the whole house filled up with this kind of skunky scent. And I just assumed there was a skunk in the backyard. So I went outside, no skunk smell at all. Not at all. It was all upstairs in the house, which I thought was weird. But I went outside to look around, didn't see a skunk, but I looked up into the trees and there were some little orbs playing around, like the little twinkle lights. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And so I went back inside, went to bed, woke up the next morning, and there's an apple with a huge bite taken out of it and like put back in the crook of the tree in the branches. And I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys, they love to play little. I feel like they can pick things out of our mind and just somehow let us know that they know that we have this part in our brain. You know what I mean? Like
Yes,
private jokes almost.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. And this is how they tailor your experience to you. by knowing
Mm,
all these things.
right.
Sounds to me like somebody should interview you about your experiences.
I think I'm gonna be on Brian's show, I think, in March, probably, I think March 9th or something like that. So, I'll get to
Oh,
tell
good.
some of my stories,
I was gonna say
but
Brian would
yeah.
for sure do it.
Well, he was on my show, last month, I wanna say. The guy talked for almost 3 hours. It was
Yeah,
insane. It was a lot.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, for sure. And he does like to
he
go for long
loves it.
periods of time
Mhm. Yeah.
and has so much
Yeah.
to say, he really has a lot. He's a wealth of information.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and your point about how they teach us these lessons that are so multi-level is so true. I have, a friend, Ashley Stinnett, who she lives in Oregon, in Portland, and she's been studying, Mount Tabor. It's a public park in Portland, and she's been doing research for a few years now. There are these big structures all over the park, basically, and she's seen, well, she's seen incredible things in that park, and it's amazing that they like you said, they come in and they some of them really wanna work with humans, and they can shapeshift, they can change form, they just it's incredible the kind of lessons that they have taught us, and she has man, one lesson she told me about, she broke it down, and it was just, like, 10 different lessons in one, it was crazy.
Oh, that
I don't know if I'm at that level yet, but she's really great at kind of breaking it all down. I would like to hear a little bit about your connection to the Fae because I've seen some of your videos, your photography of fairies and whatnot in the woods, and they're incredible. They're so cool.
well, they finally showed up for me. It took me a long time to get that relationship to excuse me, to come to the forefront because of my blind spots and resistance. But this one day, I was doing my Sasquatch thing down at the wetlands. Excuse me, I have a little frog in there. And, I went to the wetlands parking lot and they closed it because they're fixing something. And I thought, wow, okay. And I'm used to walking every day. I got to find a place to walk. So I drive up the mountain because I lived where lots of mountains are. I still do. I've moved since then. But anyway, I'm driving up the mountain and I see a pathway, just an insignificant little path. And I think, okay, let's try that. And of course, again, I feel like I was led to that spot because this isn't something I feel like normally would have done. But they want me to obviously expand my awareness when it comes to that realm. So I start walking up this hill and it is like straight up for a little while. And I think, wow, I don't think this is something I normally would have done either. So up I go
Mm,
and I carry on and I start getting this feeling like there's magic in here of some kind. And I've come to know what that feeling is, yes, when they're around. So something, a feeling rises within my body and I realize now I start clicking the camera when that starts to
mm,
happen. So just a note on that. If you want to go out into nature and take, to try to photograph them. Well, for one thing, I have a course that's going to be online on Lightbody Academy that I just did on Saturday called The Real World of Fairies, Photographing the Unseen Realms. So people can go onto the website probably in the next couple of days and access that course. But I'm just going to say here for people that pay attention to that feeling that you get when you're out in nature. And if you get that feeling, you'll start to recognize it over and over again. Start taking video. And not live shots. I mean, not photographs, but live shots or video because you can't see the movement with a photograph. You can see maybe a flash or a blur, but you're never going to get what that is from that. You might dismiss it as an artifact of the sun or something like
mm,
that.
okay.
Excuse me, we go very in depth with that in that course. Um, but anyway, I'm getting this feeling, but I can't stay because it's starting to get dark. So I go home and then I go back with my daughter. Um, and we keep going past that point. And we get to this clearing and there's this tree and this if I show things, you'll see that tree. This most amazing tree. It's got a hole in the bottom about 2 feet big, and it's totally like
Wow.
a rounded at the bottom. It looks like exactly like something you'd see in a fairy tale. It's got 2 trunks, it's a giant maple, it's absolutely humongous.
Wow.
Anyway, we both say at the same time, "It's a fairy portal," and, start laughing because she's got her own connection with this realm. And, so we start taking video, and you'll see some of her footage here too, if we get that far. Anyway, so then I realized, okay, this is a real hotspot. And so I just keep going up there and I keep getting all kinds of things. And of course, as more and more clears out, the more I actually get, the more I can see. Um, so yeah, your ability to see things on camera will definitely improve the more you break down your blind spots and resistance. And also, um, I teach this thing in that course called, oh, we also teach it in Forced Wisdom Circle if you go there, called Walking
Mm.
in Beauty, and how to set yourself up energetically to have these encounters more
Mm.
often, and also helps to clear out your energy field. So, um, anyway, we went up there and just started shooting, and all kinds of things came of that, and still do.
Wow. Okay. How do you clear yourself out to or set yourself up rather to be able to see this sort of stuff? Because I think for me it just kind of it just happened and I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe that's just the evolution of for me, but I'm just curious. What how do you set yourself up?
It's a very individual thing, just like you're saying. Um, 10 people can look at one of these photographs or videos, um, and some will see a blob, and some will see the full thing of what's there. So again, it's all
Yeah.
depends on what your blind spots are. So when you clear those out, it's not so much that people aren't gonna have experiences at all before this happens because the Sasquatch or the Fae are going to use whatever way in they can get.
Mm.
So they will tailor your experience to whatever you can handle or see at that time. And then they will keep, this is what I mean about being vetted, they will keep assessing that and keep moving you forward and more forward with different things to sort of break through the next barrier or to try to do that. So, it also goes helps to go back and look over your footage because what you could see before is not what you can see now. Now you can see different things, so going back and looking at it, you may see things you didn't see there before. And they can put things on your camera
Mm.
just like the Sasquatch can, and they can also take things off just like the Sasquatch can. So, um, it's all, just a big learning experience, and there's so much to it. So, um, yeah, so this way of getting into your energy field, again, we teach it all through Lightbody Academy. It's on Forest Wisdom Circle. It's on my course. There's lots of access to that. So for those that want to learn.
Okay. Um I'm curious, do you clear out your energy body on a daily basis? Do you do like a daily sort of cleanse?
Yeah, so I get into this field twice a day, usually at bedtime and in
Mm.
the morning. And
Yeah.
when I go out in nature, absolutely every time. Because the other thing that that does is, so that cleans it out. So all the little bits and fragmented pieces with the light that goes into it start to come together again. Um,
Mm.
but also when you're out in nature and you're in this place of beauty from inside out and it's radiating out into your energy field, you are now a frequency match for anything that is in beauty.
Mm.
So you're not a
I
frequency
love
match
that.
for things you don't want anymore, because there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things everywhere. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things in your home. So, this way you are, um, more conducive to having the encounters that you wanna have with the beings you wanna have them with. And again, they're
Okay.
vetting you, so they vet people by looking at their energy field,
Mm.
and they're
Yeah.
going to know if you're working on it and the changes that have been made. So, is there a conscious effort to keep learning is mostly the thing, keep learning and to keep doing this, and to if you wanna meet them, these are really great things to know, you know?
Exactly. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of why I'm asking you these questions because I know a lot of people want to have these experiences, but they're like, but I don't see anything, but this doesn't happen to me. You have to be special. And it's like, no, you don't have to be
absolutely
special. You
not.
just kind of have to work on your energy a little bit. And that's why they contacted me because I had been working. Well, I'm sure there's more than just this reason, but I had been working consciously with my energy for a little while. And I'm sure they were finally like, okay, now's a great time. Now
Ding,
she's
this
at
one's
the
done.
level that we can talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really helpful for people to know that, I mean, sure, you can go out in the woods with your trail cams and your pheromone sprays and, these sort of ways of trying to connect with these guys that don't really seem to work. But if you really wanna have a heart connection with these beings, you have to work on yourself first, you know? At least that's my belief.
Well, I feel like there's also this thing where if you have a heart call and you really wanna connect with them, they will find a way. They
Yeah,
will find a way. All you have to do is say, "I wanna connect with you," basically, and cultivate that intention. So energy
yeah,
follows intention, right? So,
mhm,
so with your focused intention, that's what you're doing, you're calling that in. With a heart call, it's coming from your heart. They're not gonna say no to that. It might not come in the same
yeah,
way as everyone else's. It's gonna come in your own flavor in a way that's tailored to you. And that's why I always like to say, whatever this is my own experience. And your experience, someone else's experience is gonna be tailored to them, so it's not necessarily the same, but it's in the
exactly.
same sort of vein or flavor of, experience. So, if you go into the woods all angry and upset or afraid, those are the things you're going to attract. So, and that's what happens with the people who are going the way you're talking about. Those are the experiences they're expecting. When you do this and you set your energy field up and your insides to be filled with joy and light, and then it's moved out into your energy field, and this is how you're entering, that frequency is met. So, whatever frequency you're in is met, you know? So,
Mm,
everything starts to look different. Everything starts to feel completely like, wow, this is incredible. And it's actually coming from you because this is what you're pulling out, right? Um,
yeah,
so people ask about thin places. Well, you're creating your own thin place as you go.
mm,
Not that you can't meet a hyperdimensional space, but again, you're meeting it in a completely different way.
yeah. Yeah, you're at a different frequency and you'll definitely feel and see different things. Um, yeah. I don't know. I've had some experiences over the years with kind of getting to know the dark, like the physical dark, the nighttime. Um,
Mhm.
it's been kind of a project of mine because I've ever since I was a kid, I've had a very intense fear of the dark. And I grew up in cities, so I never really had to deal with it that much. But since moving out to this very rural area, everything is so dark and so quiet, and it's almost overwhelming at first. But, I decided to start going out to meet the forest people in the dark, kind of to I don't know, to try to meet them eh, on their grounds, I guess, on their level, and to show them that I was willing to kind of do some work to hang out with them. So, I would start going out in the dark, and it was so scary at first. I would sit in my car or I would sit under a street light and just try to get used to it, and it took a few months before I could actually just sit in the dark at the tree line, and, yeah, the more I've worked on that and gotten over my fear of whatever I would see, I've seen insane, crazy, amazing, beautiful things. But you have like you said, you kinda have to get over the fear and, the other sort of not so great frequencies.
Yeah. Um, I used to be really afraid of the dark too, and now I'm not at all.
Yeah.
Similar but different experience. I think everyone's, and again, the walking in beauty situation really helps with that fear because if you're in joy, you can't be in fear. If you
Mm.
cultivate this experience inside yourself, um, that precludes everything else. So that really helped me. But yeah, fear of the dark as humans, you know, and they're very, very careful try not to scare us with their size and because they know we're jumpy. It's part of our protection mechanism as human beings.
Mm.
So yeah, their kindness and their love for humans is almost unbounded for the ones that love them, and they don't all love them. So
I was wondering, what's the story with your, crosses behind you?
Well, this is another journey they're taking me down. So this one's an X, this one here, and this one, it's connected. So I'm waiting for number 3. I haven't gotten it yet.
Mm,
But I can tell you how this first one happened. So I have a deep, deep connection with them. This place, Brian introduced me to. And what had happened was I have been going around different places wherever I go in the world, and I've been to some different places, connecting with the elemental realms there and Sasquatch if they're around. And what I do is I always leave them a wreath. And to me, it symbolizes, and they'll know this because you know how they have a telephone line or this sort
mm,
of mind or cloud that they access to connect with each other, the Sasquatch. Well, that they have the same thing. It's different. I mean, it's very similar. But so with one knows about you, they all know about you, you know? So I
mhm,
would make these wreaths showing the human connection to the elemental realms. And when I say elemental realms, I always include Sasquatch in that because they go back and forth. And I would leave these everywhere, Scotland, Ireland, here, back east, and just all over the place. I leave these wreaths. So I have a little gifting spot when I go camp there. And so I left them one of these wreaths last time. And I also often will leave them something to tie things together because they love to tie things together in their structures and stuff.
mm.
And often there
Yeah.
they'll use the old things from camping, people camping, like their bungee cords or whatever. Whatever is around, they'll use. So I left them some shoelaces. And so so the next time I go there a year later, this one in the middle here is tied with one of the shoelaces I left them the year before. And
Nice.
beside that on the ground was a circle of rocks with some in the middle, and my wreath was placed in this circle, like on the outside with on top of these other rocks.
Oh,
So it's like
wow.
we hear you, we see you, we know your intention, um, and we're showing you this. I feel like this is there, and they've done this with me before with other things, with this middle one. Um, so one time I got a leaf and it had 3 sticks in it, 2 through the middle and 1 long one, through the whole thing. But this one stick, the long stick was tied to, um, the bottom stick, a smaller one, and then the longer one. So this is a personal message to me. But what it was saying is, "We're tied to you. We're not tied to this other person. We're
Mm,
walking with you. We're walking with this other person," so that I would know that. So, I feel like this is the same thing. I'm tied to them in this X with the
oh,
string that I gave them. It's a solidarity sort of, um,
yeah.
thing. So then the other one, this one here, that looks like a cross, and it'll never be, I shouldn't say never, 'cause never a real thing. This is not a religious symbol in this case, that's probably the best way to put it.
Okay.
So when I went to Brian and Sue's house, Brian had gotten a new area where he was connecting with them, and he took, Christina and I were there. He took us there, and, we had been talking about them and the Fey realm situation on the way in. And when we came out, this cross was on the ground just at the entryway beside a log, which I feel like they knew I was gonna step over, and it was right where I was gonna put my foot. So it's
Mm,
like, okay, there's part 2, connecting with this other group there, saying the same thing. So I feel like this is what's happening as I go different places. It's an acknowledgement, I feel like, of this. We understand what you're
mhm,
doing, and we're on board with it, and, we'll help if that's needed sort of idea.
mm,
And then this other one over here is a bow. And that one, when I was at the same camping place, so we go there twice a year. And at the same camping place, when I had first started to introduce, um, sort of, how can I put this? Moving the Sasquatch relationship from just hanging out with them to working with them with people. So the first time that I went there with that intention, and that intention had been building for a long time to start working with other people to bring them into this,
mm.
um, working in the similar way, that was outside of my tent, a few feet
Oh,
away.
okay.
And again, just made with whatever was around. So there's just a stick, and then this is like a nylon thread. And it wasn't, I've been up and down there many times putting my stuff up into my tent. And it was just, I went down and I came up and there it was. So that's a very active spot for connecting with them for the purpose of moving people in the direction, or
Mm,
helping
mm,
them with that
yeah.
into that direction of working with the elementals, not just Sasquatch. So that's what I mean. All these things will have layers of meaning. So I don't know what this all means in the end, and I know there's more to come. Um, so I'm just waiting, waiting to see. And maybe they're waiting for me to come, to another layer of stuff. But so yeah,
Yeah,
those the messages and things are all very, very layered, and you can get parts of that. I have other examples of that, but anyway, yeah, it's very layered.
mm. Um, I have so, like I told you earlier, my experience has not been for very long, maybe, uh, 2.5 years at this point. So, I'm still kind of at the beginning of this journey with them. But, last summer, I kept getting Y-shaped sticks everywhere. Everywhere I went, I would see Y-shaped sticks and, hawk feathers and stuff like that. And I finally asked them, I was like, "What's the deal with the Y-shaped sticks?" And the message that I got was, basically, like, from fragmentation to unification. And, I mean, that's basically all I got, but it was pretty profound when I received that, and I was like, "Wow, that's amazing. Thanks, guys."
Yeah, it's never gets old. Maybe that's the way to put it. It never gets old. Um, and I've heard other people say that about Y sticks too, and they're often seen even in structures. But I feel like, again, those are personal. Whatever that means for you is whatever it means for you. It's not what it means in general, you know? Um, it's very personal what happens.
But I'm wondering, do you have any last words of wisdom or anything you'd like to promote?
Well, thank you for asking. Well, of course, there's the Forest Wisdom Circle, first Thursday of every month, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That's free for
Mhm.
anybody that wants to come, starting your connections and cultivating those with other people that are doing that and sharing. It's really fun. Um, and then there's the course I just gave, photographing the unseen realms, and we go into Fey history, how we all have Fey DNA, or most of us do. I shouldn't say we all do, but there's a Fey DNA has filtered down through the eons, and a lot of us have just an itty bitty bit, but waking that up can change everything.
Mm,
uh, and how you can do that. And then into the videos and photographs of the Fey realm that I have, and showing people what to find on camera and how to slow it down, blow it up, all that. So that's the photography course. Um, and oh yeah, so coming up, I'm going to be writing a book with Christina about the elemental connection, how to connect with elementals. And I'm also making an oracle deck. So I do paintings of beings that I don't see on camera that come to me in
oh,
different ways. And
oh,
so I've
cool.
got a lot of those. And so I'll be doing a deck with all those beings and what they bring forward for humanity.
I want one. That sounds awesome.
I'll put you down.
I'm excited about that. That's really cool. I
Yeah, it's
actually
gonna
just
take a little
started
more time.
what's
Uh,
that?
I was gonna say it's gonna take a little time. I'm almost at the end of the paintings, and then it's the photography process and making the cards.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know when it's done. I want a deck. Um,
Okay.
I just started my first dragon painting. I've been seeing this dragon in my
Oh,
mind's eye for the past week, and I finally was like, "I'm just gonna paint this thing. I'm just gonna
okay.
paint this guy." He's, he's like he's all yellow and kind of like a Chinese dragon, but not really. So, it's been fun.
That's very cool because there's something that happens, I don't know about you, in the process of painting, that there's a lot that can be had in that process. And then just
Mm,
looking at this being who you've been connecting with, looking right back at you in 3D, there's something that happens with that, that
yeah.
starts a ball rolling. Anyway, I think it's great you're doing that. That's awesome.
Ooh, tell me more. What else happens? I've never done this before.
Um, oh, have you not done, okay, so this is your first one?
Mhm.
And have you started?
Very first one. It's very big.
Okay,
It's a big
great.
painting.
Oh, excellent. Well, I'd love to see that when it's done. But I find as soon as I get to the eyes, and sometimes I start with the eyes, and it's usually in the
Mm.
beginning of the process, but as soon as those eyes are on the paper, I start to cry
Oh.
because I can see it. I can feel the essence through the eyes. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, and then things start to come. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's a very interesting process. So I'd love to hear about how that goes for you. Uh,
Okay. I'll
and then there'll be
I'll
prints
send
and
you some.
things too coming from that.
Okay, yeah. We'll see how long it takes. It seems like a massive, endeavor, but,
So you got a
I
lot
feel
more
like
going on
all
than meets the eye.
it's kind it's kind of a lot. I'm starting a new series that I'm doing with some friends of mine. We're doing the Monroe Gateway process, which I don't know if you are familiar with, but, we're doing this process of it's a bunch of audio tapes that you listen to, and it helps you to I'm sure you're familiar, expand your consciousness and help you to kinda do out of body experiences and travel and lucid dreaming and such, and, so we're starting this group together and doing these exercises together, and then we're documenting, um, all of our experiences on videos, so that's one project I'm doing, and I'm keeping myself busy.
That's very cool, and it's interesting that you mentioned that. So I don't know that much about the Monroe Institute, and the first thing I time I heard it is a bunch of us from Lightbody went to, a Vision Without Eyes course.
Mm,
Do you know
yeah.
about Vision Without Eyes?
Yeah, it's the psi sort of, where they teach you basically how to see things with blindfolds and how to
Yes.
kind of enhance your ESP abilities.
Yes. And what I found for myself, and again, this isn't necessarily everybody's experience, but I think it's because of the road I'm going down and the cultivation of the inner being that that mindset is now starting to overlap um, the 3D vision in certain
Wow.
instances. So I'm
Mhm.
getting like visions where I can see things with my eyes wide open, like there's a movie playing in front of me. And I think
Right.
that's what that did. It unlocked something. Um, so I can give you an example of what happened when I was there. So there were two of us working, and you have the blindfold on, and they flash things in front of your mask, like colors or shapes, and eventually get down to the point where you can read things. But anyway,
Mhm.
I've got these shapes, and I was holding them myself because my partner was missing my. So when you get the holes, you get holes, but your whole mask isn't full. You get pinpoints or you get little holes. And then eventually it fills in, and then you can see through the whole thing. Anyway, I'm still at a spot where I've got some holes. You can also get them in your body. I've got one in my stomach where if I
Hmm.
hold a light down here with the colors, I can see it in my mask. So I
Oh.
flash the colors down here, and they'll experiment with you during that where you've got holes other places in your body. But
Hmm.
anyway, so I've got these flashcards and I'm holding them in front of my window, they call it. I have one on this side and one on this side. And I'm holding it there. And these are solid shapes, like a solid triangle or an outline of a triangle, and then all the different shapes, right? Circle, square, whatever. So I've got this empty triangle in front of me, and I can see behind me there's two guys standing there, and they're doing their thing, and there's a car in front of me because we're outside. The light really helps. So I can see those guys, and I put the card in front. I can't see them anymore. I'm looking at this card, and I get this funny feeling, and all of a sudden, the card back disappears, and this triangle's just floating in space. But I
Whoa.
still can't see the guys on the other side. So it's like an opaque film that's behind this triangle, and now it's got a line through it. And what am I looking at? Why can I not see those? But I can't see the car, but I can see something. You see what I mean? So I think there's
Yeah.
so much that our mind can give us that are, again, all this resistance and blind spots, and our mind tells us we can't.
Yeah.
So, um, I tried not to go there with any preconceived ideas, but they do a lot to work you through. In the beginning, you do a lot of telekinesis and different things to try to break through that I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to
Hmm.
do this. And even then, people still have trouble. So, our
Yeah.
mind does a lot of things to us. Anyway, it's a long story.
I
So, I
know.
heard about the Monroe Institute while I was there. That's where that went to. Sorry. It's a long
Okay.
story.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's another institute that works on expanding consciousness, and uh I started doing these exercises by myself a few months ago, and pretty quickly in I started having these, and I'd never had lucid dreams before in my life, but I had this experience where I was dreaming, and if have you ever had kombucha?
No, I have some
Oh,
allergies to
okay.
things
Well,
that are
there's
in
like oh,
kombucha.
okay. The It's made with this, fungus that's called a SCOBY, and that's kind of what helps facilitate the process of kombucha. But it's like it looks like a big rubbery pancake almost. And so I was sleeping, and then all of a sudden I felt this like it what looked in my mind's eye like a SCOBY being peeled off my third eye, and everything was hypercolor, vivid, and I saw this in front of me was a what looked like a Rubik's cube almost, but it was made of mirrors and it was covered in eyes. And it was just like in front of just right in front of me. And I was like, oh, so do I see this thing all the time? Because I always see every time I close my eye, even when my eyes are open, I see this like kind of spinning Merkaba in my mind's eye. And that was the
It's
first
very
thing that
Alex
happened.
Gray.
And then what's that?
I said it's very Alex Gray.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah, very much so. Yeah, it looked like that, and I described it to a friend of mine, and they were like, "Oh, that's a seraphim angel," and I was like, "Well, I don't know what it was, but it was really cool and kind of freaky." And and,
Wow.
since then, I'd started having a lot more lucid dreams where I will, again, get this film peeled off my third eye, and I'll be in a classroom with people that I know, and we're you know, it's I can feel the tables, I can feel the chairs, and I recognize the people, and then all of a sudden it goes blank again. And so I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's
Well, if you
really
wanna dive
exciting.
deeper if you wanna dive deeper into all that stuff, I know a place you can go to do it.
Oh, yeah, I think it's called Lightbody Academy.
Lightbody Academy. Yes, that's what we do. We dive into all those things. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
lots of
I
fun.
feel like a big part of my journey is dream work because I have these really intense dreams, and a lot of them come true. Like my wife, I had a dream 2 weeks before I met her that we were gonna be together, and I'll just different people who have passed over, I'll dream about it before I hear about it, and so I think it's I don't know, something having to do with dreams.
Yeah, that's a whole thing, and we also do group dreaming. So,
Oh,
we
really?
have, we do things as in labs, which are 3 people, so Christina and 3 other people, and, we dive into our individual dreams, but we have also twice a month group dreams where we again, we try to do things as much as we can as a group, and different
Mm.
people's dreams will take us down different places. And that's been profound, and then we start coming into each other's dreams, and we start dreaming together and those kinds of things. So it's very
Oh
fun,
my god.
very interesting, very productive, because you're bypassing the ego driver to get to what spirit's actually trying to tell you. So,
Mm.
yeah, it's
Well,
pretty
I'm
amazing work
definitely gonna
Christina does.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out, so we'll see what happens. Um, well, okay, Laurel, I will let you go because 'cause I'm sure you're a
Thank
busy
you.
lady.
Yeah, there's lots to do. Tell you.
Thank you again for meeting up with me and having this cool chat. I'm honored to be able to meet you.
It was really fun, and likewise.